And we are back. Felt should talk a bit more about heaven, the so-named heaven, because people must go to heaven. And there is a very interesting truth. There is no heaven. People are not going to heaven. It was concocted. It was invented. And the main question is, would they know why it was invented? Because the pagan nations, when they began to take over the part of the world, they were prospering because of the teaching of Yahweh through His people. Then they burned what they had, their materials, and they came up many years later with their own twisted understanding of the scriptures. And there is no heaven, because the idea behind was to drive away their focus from the kingdom to come government to this mystical heaven that they have to do certain events or certain ways of living so they would be going to heaven. And it was concocted because the scriptures is very clear. And Yaakov states very plainly, simply, that the soul goes to rest, the body goes to the dust, and the spirit returns to the Father who gave it. Very simple. People, they were made for the earth. They are not made for heaven. Let's say, for instance, for a moment people would go to heaven. What would they do up there? They were not created for the environment of the heaven. What are they going to do up there? Flying around space from planet to planet, desolate, rocky places? They were not made for heaven. They were made for the earth. That's why heaven doesn't exist. In terms of people after their resting places of the soul, they're going to be resting, but they are not going to heaven. There is no such. They were not created for heaven. The glorified body will to be given each of us that died in Mashiach when the new earth is established. Then it's going to be what we are experiencing this very day, except no sin. The Shabbats are going to remain, the holy Mikras are going to remain forever. And then Jerusalem is going to be the capital of the world. And the Creator is going to be in it. Uncomplicated. But people think they are going to heaven. What are they going to do in heaven? Are they going to have to sit up there in some sort of a heavenly seat, and then they would be judging other nations? It was concocted. Simply concocted. If you truly read the context of the whole situation, you can conclude yourself. It will be a feasting, obviously, when Yahshua is ready for it, but then in a glorified body state. So let's try to put these scriptures where they belong. Going up to heaven, doing what in heaven? We were made for the earth. Yahshua also was made for the earth. He was born in the earth. Think of it. So then, this takes away a whole lot more understanding from the scriptures, but obviously this heavenly situation that people would go up and sit on seats and judging the nations. No, they won't be judging. The judgment is already done. Either a person goes to rest and wakes up when a new earth is established, and then a new body is going to be given them, and afterwards a feast. What did Yahshua say? Well, he would not drink from the fruit of the vine until the kingdom would come. The new earth would come, and then they would feast. The work was done, completed, taken care of, done away with. No heaven. There is no such of being in heaven and having feast in heaven. We are not made for heaven. We were made for the earth. So then, with this understanding in mind, Revelation then becomes somewhat simple, because people won't be ruling with the Yahshua in the earth for 1,000 years. It was concocted from the time that the church is re-established as per original plan. Then another 1,000 years on top, the world would not be able to survive anymore, because it would run out of resources. So then Revelation then becomes a whole lot simpler. We can read for ourselves. Those big numbers stated, those were events that did take place after Daniel. We understand from the first shadow of the spring feast, it was 490 days. First half of the Torah, first half of the prophets were completed by the Son. The Son came to show how to be a servant. How to be a servant in the new kingdom to come. Then the Father does his share. He does the second part. The second part was the vengeance because of sin. It's only his. We are not going to be in heaven helping him to do his vengeance. He does it himself, and he does a great job. We are going to be resting until he takes care of what he must in the earth. And then later on, when the age closes, then comes the new earth, and then we come out of our resting places, and then we are given a glorified body, and then we have a feast. Boy, that was simple, wasn't it? So then please stay tuned. Much more coming up.